Let's talk about your hometown. You may remember of a singer called Randy Newman who used to have a song called Baltimore. What does it suggest you?
Baltimore is basically a small town that's a city. The one good thing about it is that, yes, it has its little beauties and small things. And the one thing that I love about Baltimore, which is kind of the sad thing, is that it never changes. Anytime I come back to Baltimore, they kind of still like the same music and can still play the same playlist, and everybody goes off on it.
It's quite surprising in regards to what's been put out in Baltimore to have the city quite underrated as compared to Chicago or New York in terms of house music.
Well, I think, and that's the sad thing too, a lot of people just don't look at Baltimore as a musical town in which a lot of people have been inspired by some of the things that we do. You know, Basement Boys was one of the first house labels to have 3 groups signed to major labels: Alternate,
Crystal Waters,
and then Mass Order on Columbia. So all 3 at the same time, so that's an major accomplishment. And this is, and I'm not slighting Masses at Work, but this was before Masses at Work. And we still didn't, nobody gives us the recognition. But, it's always been like that for people in Baltimore. We never get the recognition. But we do good music, I think.
So let's talk about your period with the Basement Boys. How did you meet them?
Well, you're going to meet them if you're in the music field because Baltimore is so small. So because they DJ all the time, we all bumped into each other and we all knew each other because we played at the same club, Paradox, which is our shelter. They played there, we always sing, we would always speak. And then what furthered the connection for Basement Boys was Spin's ex-wife. Kathy was a big fan of mine, and she was like, "Oh, Spin, you really need to meet Karizma and you really need to work with him." So when the first album for Jasper Street came out, I submitted a track, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and then I did some drum programming for Temptation. And then like maybe a year later, me and Spin ended up working at the same radio station together and, formed a bond. And I was like, we really need to do some more stuff. So a year later, he was working on a remix for Mary J. Blige, Beautiful. And at that point, it was just one of those things of like a magical connection. I was like, dude, we could be the next Masses at Work. Let's work together. Let's keep this thing going. And we did. And that's how Spin and Karizma was formed. And, we did a lot of good work. And, like I always say, with relationships, it either grows or you get further apart. And musically, I like to do hip-hop. I like to do anything I feel. And I felt pressured because Basement Boys was all about house. And they had other musics, but they just could not break into another field because people kept boxing them into the house field. I used to do a lot of stuff for projects and would get turned down, so it made me discouraged. And eventually it was one of those things where I felt like I had to leave to pursue musically what I wanted to do.
You live partly in London. Is there anything from here you might include in your music? A typical taste from England, right, for instance.
Well, just being in Europe is more freedom. I guess with being in the States, and this is the one thing that I try to break away from, which is a good thing to be in Europe, people put you in the box. Either you're a hip-hop DJ or a house DJ, and people can't get it in their head that you can actually play all these musics. And I'm old school, I'm 37, and I came up in a time where you were able to play Stevie Wonder next to a techno track, next to a slow jam, next to some Art of Noise, next to all of these you could play in one setting. Whereas now, you go to a club, it's techno, it's electro, is hip hop, and there's not, you know, anything where you can play it all. And being in Europe, I kind of find where you can be more expressive musically than in the States.
Can we expect you playing anything tonight, from hip hop to Latin, Afro, or whatever?
Anything that I think people will dance to, or maybe not, because that's what I'm here for, I'ma do. If I feel comfortable, it's over. I mean, I just feel musically comfortable. I think I can do that tonight. I think this is the type of crowd that I can do that. So yes, you can expect that.
Seems like we ain't really walking up on the trail blazed by those who knew what it meant to fight to be free, who knew what it meant to